Alright, hi folks. Well, it's silly season in the United States. The circus is in town. Why, it's time for the presidential elections, and the whole country and the election process turns into a sideshow. But you know, folks, we're not the only ones to do that. Our allies and good friends in South Korea, they're doing the same thing. They're following our example by turning their election into a three-ring circus. That's it, kids. That's what they're doing. Their current president, President Lee, I have had a lot of respect for the gentleman for the way he historically stood up to the commies in North Korea. But recently he's done a few things that I have to question his tactics. What he's done, he's appealed to what must be a large voter bloc in South Korea that absolutely hates the Japanese. And that voter bloc must be a larger voter bloc than the few people in South Korea that dislike or hate the communists in North Korea. You know, those people north of the 38th parallel, those folks. Now here's what's the interesting part. The last time there was hostilities between the Koreans and Japan was 67 years ago. The last time there was hostilities between South Korea and North Korea, yesterday, well, I'm exaggerating, a couple of months ago, a half a year ago. In other words, the hostilities still exist today between the two nations. The North Koreans are still lobbing artillery shells into the south, ramming their vessels, killing their sailors, shooting the tourists. That's still going on today. But yet there seems to be a larger voter bloc in South Korea that despises Japan as opposed to them despising the commies in North Korea. And here's why I say that. There was a group of islands that the South Koreans called Dokdo and the Japanese called Takeshima. That's between the two countries. And both countries claim those islands as their own. Well, recently, President Lee of South Korea made a visit to those islands, knowing it would upset the Japanese government. No problem, because he has to appeal to that voter base that hates the Japanese, much like Sea Shepherd does. But he didn't stop there, and that's when he took the next step. I maybe understood that, but the next step really pushed me over the side here. He comes out with a statement, something to the effect that if the Emperor of Japan, Akihito, wants to come visit South Korea, why, he must first apologize for the Japanese colonial rule over the peninsula for 35 years. That ended 67 years ago. The Emperor nor the Japanese government have not made a request to visit Korea. So why did he bring that up? Well, to appeal to that voter bloc that hates the Japanese. Very simple, but here's what's interesting. He was in Japan a couple of years ago, visiting with the Emperor. He never brought that subject up. And here's a part that was in a South Korean newspaper website written a couple of years ago, when the president was visiting the Emperor. He said basically something to the effect that past actions between the two countries must stay in the past and we must concentrate on the future. Well, he said it had to stay in the past, but yet he's resurrecting it today for an election. You see, he's saying they have to apologize for the 35 years of colonial rule. Now, you know, when things like that happen, I always try to, when I evaluate it, to find a correlation or another example, mainly either with myself or my country here, the United States. And I found a few of them. British rule in the Americas, that the part that's the United States, was for approximately 175 years. After the American Revolution, till today, I don't recall anyone asking the British to apologize for the 175 years of rule here. Now, a lot of you are saying, well, you really cannot compare it because there's a lot of accusations made against the Japanese by the Koreans. All right, I'll give you that. But approximately the last 10 to 20 years of their rule here was oppressive. That's why there was a revolution. Still, we never asked for an apology for that. They burned down the White House in 1814. Never asked for an apology for that. All right, but you're still going to insist you can't compare it. This I'll compare. Navajo Native Americans in the United States. A lot of their land was stolen by the United States government and treaties broken. They, for the last 100 years, over 100 years, they have had lawsuits in the courts to get that land back. Well, recently, I don't know if it was a court decision or if it was a congressional action, they were awarded, I don't know if it was a little over $1 billion or a couple of $100 million for that land. You know what the Navajos told the United States government? You could put that money where the sun doesn't shine. We do not want your money. We want our land back. They did not ask for the money. They did not ask for an apology. They just wanted their land back. Now you South Koreans got your land back. So what are you complaining about? And there's been apologies in the past anyway. But it's not the type of an apology you want. See where I made the comparison? You see where it's silly season going on here? He's appealing to the base in South Korea that dislikes the Japanese because there must be a larger voter base than dislikes the commies in North Korea. And I'm sorry, folks, there's something wrong with that picture there. I can't reconcile that. Your future, your sovereignty and security lies with a good relationship with the Japanese as opposed to the North Korean commies. Do you understand that? No, you don't. I know that. All right. We'll see you. God bless you. God bless America. And God bless the nation you happen to be in. See ya.